Hi everybody, welcome to another video on the channel. In today's video, I've got an example here of a client that has had a couple of months of rowing before they came to me. We started working together about a month ago. What you've got here in this video on the left-hand side over here is 30 days ago, essentially. And then on the right-hand side here, we've got the result of 30 days of individualized coaching. And I wanted to show this to you for a couple of reasons. I wanted to show you what was possible, what sort of outcomes we get when I work with clients. And even if you're not interested in individual coaching, using this video as an example of some of the things that I look for in terms of stroke mechanics. So if you want to spend the next few minutes here on this video, I'm going to go through some things that I look for. We're going to learn some things about learning how to row well, some of the secrets to it, the learning how to use your body weight, and so forth. So before we get going here, too much, I'm going to show you these two. These two, I'm going to link them together, and we'll just watch, just kind of take a look at what's going on the left. In terms of mechanics, what's going on the right. Okay, so on the right, 30 days later, on the left is just the video I got whenever I onboard a client. Like, this is one of the first things that I look at is how do we improve technique. Technique is the low-hanging fruit for rowing, in my opinion. We can get a pretty big performance increase, a chunk of time off a 5K or a 2K or a 10K just by improving the way that we're rowing. And if you feel like you're stuck, this might be a good place to come and get a little bit of help looking at this stuff. So let's pause this and look at things as we go here. So starting with what's going on 30 days ago, right? We've clearly got, the first thing is we've got a very vertical, a big vertical component of the drive. Now clearly we want something that is a bit more horizontal. So that's a nice fix over 30 days right there. So that was one of the first things that I said was the work it's got to be horizontal as much as possible. Okay, it's not going to be perfect, but it certainly needs to be better than what we see on the left-hand side, right? So that was really the first thing. The next thing is, in terms of posture and how you're sitting on the seat. So when we look at this on the left-hand side, you'll see that the tailbone is kind of tucked in underneath. So things tend to be tucked in. And as a result, what happens is you can't get the right sequence of motion out of the release or the finish into that first part of the recovery, right? So what we're talking about here is what's going on here as we're flowing out of the bow of the boat or the release of the stroke, right? So when I look at what's going on the left, we can see that the knees are lifting. And what we're looking specifically at is when does the forward body angle get established, right? When does that forward body angle get established? And it gets established, it takes a while for that forward body angle to get in that. And I'm not sure we really get much of a forward body angle here, right? We're getting a little bit here, all right? But what I'm looking for here is ideally I'm going to change colors here to get into that. So if this is your body angle at the release, swinging through, right? Swinging through here and getting that forward body angle earlier in the recovery. So we're getting into that position in blue early, right? So fast forwarding 30 days, what's going on the right here? What I like about this is it's pretty fluid and organic, right? Sometimes rowing is taught arms away, straighten the arms and then swing the body. What I like what's going on here is a much more organic flow, right? And that's more realistic when the rate comes higher to let the arms come away and sort of let the elbows in a way bring the shoulders forward, and we get a better position. We get more body prep here on the right. So if I'm looking at this, what I like here is that I'll draw that again because the hip wasn't quite aligned. There we go. But what I like is what we're trying to do is get into this kind of a position. I don't think we're there yet with this client. Again, this is 30 days. This is a beginner, right? But what you can see here is if I clear that, if we're getting into, again, it's sort of like when we get to here and we compare it to something very similar, the arms are a little bit more extended here on the right, and the client is doing a nice job of kind of flowing, right? In a way, it's really, you've got to feel that pull in the hamstrings here as you swing forward, and try to get into that nice body over position early in the recovery. What this does is essentially set stroke length, and it also gets us ready to be in the catch position so that when we do ultimately change direction at the catch, we're able to change direction immediately without having to reshuffle. And for me, this position here is really the $1 million position, right? Getting into this kind of a position early in the recovery sets a lot of things up, right? Everything builds on itself. So if you sit on the seat correctly, then you can swing your body through correctly. If you swing your body through correctly, you arrive at the catch at the right position. So if we move forward here on 30 days ago, what you'll see here is a very upright position, right? That's where we are at that catch in an upright position. There's barely any hip flexion, and in fact, if you look at it, what we've got is the seat kind of tucking underneath you, and we're just not in a really great position right now. If I go to 30 days of coaching later, then what we get is a little better position, right? So there's our catch position here. So you can see the improvement here between the two things. And so what we've got is, again, it's not perfect. We're probably a little bit over compressed here in terms of the shins, but we're in that position right there. And that's a much better position to be in, right? Now, when we start pushing the machine away and suspending weight off the handle, we've got a little bit of forward body to, that angle, because ultimately when we start to drive, we're going to essentially swing the body. I'll try and draw that again. So here's it's not letting me draw it very well. All right, so let me try this. All right, basically, if we're at this catch position right there, our body is going to swing through the hip, right, from this position into this position, right, as we go through the drive. The problem is if we're already upright at the catch, like we are over here in this example over here, then we've got half of that body to really use as we want to accelerate that ore handle a little bit further, right? So what you can see here is an improvement in that body position, and that you only really get that when you set the upper body forward, right? So that's really, really important as well. Now, if we watch the drive progression here, so we watch what's going on the left, and really watch that first half of the leg drive, you can see that the upper body is opening up early, right? So when we get to the 90-degree position, so if I draw this in on the left, here's the 90-degree position in terms of the legs, right? So let's just say, I know I'm eyeing it up here, but essentially, like, this is 90 degrees right here, and look at where the body is there. That's where we are at that 90-degree position. Now fast forward 30 days with some coaching, working on hanging the body weight. So we want to be pushing the machine away. We want to really think about activating the whole body here, but we want to be definitely feeling like we're pushing through here, right? And we're suspending our body weight between these 2 points. We get a little bit of weight off the seat, and what we get is a nice, we can call this the triangle position. There to there to there to there. And that's a good triangle to hold for the first part of that leg drive, right? Again, we're activating everything, and so when we get to that, I'm going to eye it up here, and hopefully you agree with me, right? We're now at the 90-degree position here. We've still got a little bit of forward body angle. We could delay that a little bit longer. Again, this is 30 days of coaching. This is a beginning athlete, but we've got the 90-degree position, and we're in a better position here on the right than we are on the left. Why is this important? Well, because we want to accelerate through the drive. So if we're accelerating through the drive, what we should be seeing here is a nice smooth force curve that doesn't cave in on itself, right? And that was a quick draw, but basically we're looking for a curve that goes all the way around. The machine will tell you this is a very primitive force curve on the Concept 2, but specifically, I don't know exactly where we are, but let's say we're about here in our drive. We want to make sure that this part of our drive is effective as well, and we get that by using the back and the legs and the arms together concurrently to really create impulse use the body weight through the middle of the drive, whip the handle through, and essentially that force curve is, what do we care about? We care about, well, how fast is that wheel traveling at that point where the force curve ends. That's the end of the stroke. Okay, this is the beginning of the stroke. So essentially there, right? Where are we here? And so transitioning from the green here to the blue is essentially what's going to do this or draw this part of the force curve. Okay, now how should it feel? It should feel like a thrust stroke. Like it should feel hard on the catch. Don't be soft on that catch, but surging all the way through to that point is going to give us a nice curve on the back half of our force curve, right? So what if we're not doing that? What happens is things start to go straight. And we get a discontinuity in acceleration. So I think the transition between this point here, all right, so this is our point again. That point here is what I'm looking for is how do we organically use the legs, the back, and the arms together to finish those 3 segments together. So if we draw a circle on the seat, so when do the legs finish? When does the back finish? When do the hands finish? Right? How do those 3 points mesh up together? We'll go back to the 30 days ago, and we'll put circles around. When does the seat finish? Essentially, when do the legs finish? When does the back finish? When does the arms finish? Right, and we'll watch that, right? So what's happening 30 days ago, again, you can see we've already used the back, so we don't have it to accelerate the back half of that stroke. And now the legs and the back kind of finish, and then the arms are all on their own trying to do something. And what you can see there is the chain just loses any of that tension. We've lost that connection, right? So what we want to try to do is, and this is why I want to show this to you, partly why I want to show this to you watching what's going on 30 days later, is those three components a bit more organically weaving together. We still, we want to be pushing the foot stretcher away all the way through. We want to be, strong in the core. So we're spending time, with our coaching on that core control, so that we are able to basically just, keep that pressure on the foot stretcher. Feet out drill is very, very helpful for this, because it forces you to accelerate that handle through. If you lose the acceleration on that handle, then the feet come off the foot stretcher. So taking the feet out of the straps is important. And the point here is that, now I'll go slowly so you can kind of see the whole motion, right? There's our organic body swing and our body prep. Right, there's our catch position. Now we're in position. We're losing a little bit here, right? But again, it's a vast improvement. We're pushing initially off the foot stretcher. We're driving through, and now we're using the legs against the foot stretcher, the back and the arms organically together to accelerate that finish. Things are more effective, right? So let's go back to the start again. I'm at about 210 on this video. I'm about 210 on this video. I have a protocol when I ask for video footage that says do 3 minutes at this rate. It's a low rate. Do a minute at a bit higher in the mid range, and then do a minute at the high range. So we can take those 5 minutes of footage and sit them up against each other and see an apples to apples comparison in terms of stroke rate and sync them up. And this client has followed the instructions, done a really good job. And now we've got an apples to apples comparison over 30 days. So if I link those two together and just forward it, I don't know how well they'll sync up, but you can kind of see the differences in slow motion. There's the catch. There's the drive, much better, getting suspension and drawing that handle through more horizontally. One last note I will say is this client is somebody who is trying to learn how to row boats as well, right? So I know that the hands are dropping here. I think that's a good investment for somebody moving to transition into the boat than just going straight forward and back. If you are a land warrior, then that tap down isn't important. But ultimately, this person is going to want to let their hands rise into the catch, bring the blade down to the water. And so that's one of the things that I look for is you can videotape yourself, but if your hands aren't, when you're in this catch position, if you can see there, even though on the left we've got an example of the hands being too high at this point, but if your hands, if this is the height of work right here, then we've got to have the hands in the height of work at the point where we change direction, and they do a pretty good job of that. So that's one of the first things to check, is that's generally where there's disconnection, and now we're much better there along that height of work on the right hand side. So I've given you a ton of information here. I'd love to hear your comments on the video. This is the fundamentals. We've got a way to go here, but I wanted to show this to you because there was a really good example of how do we move somebody from a beginner stage to making some improvements on their technique, and some of the things I'm looking for. And I think it was a pretty effective way of showing what the result of 30 days of analysis, drills, strength training, feedback, and where we could get in 30 days and those improvements, and take a chunk off of a 5K time, a fairly big percentage, relatively speaking. So if I clear this and I run this to finish the video, this is in full speed. but you can clearly see that the flow is much better on the right hand side. The athlete is looking more comfortable. They're going to be able to row more effectively, on the long distance. Every single stroke. So if we're taking 20 strokes a minute and we're 3 or 4% better, that's 3 or 4% every single stroke, and it all kind of multiplies out, right? We're back to the math of performance and things like that. So I hope you got something out of the video. Please like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. Share the video if you find it helpful. I would love, that would mean a great deal to me. If I can help you as a coach, I would love to work with you. My website, www.coachbergenroth.com, has a ton of information. We can talk for 15 minutes at a consult, see if I'm a good fit for you. But I'm very proud of this client. They've done a great job over 30 days, done everything I've asked of them, and these are the results. And I think they speak for themselves. So more work to do. There's always more work to do. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Appreciate you.